Pride and Prejudice, chapters 1-23, acts as the extensive setup of the novel's primary conflicts. It introduces the social world of the Bennet family, establishes the contrasting personalities of the two eldest sisters, and brings the catalysts for the plot, Mr. Bingley and, more importantly, Mr. Darcy, into their sphere. The volume meticulously charts the rise of Jane Bennet's romance with Mr. Bingley and the contentious, budding attraction between Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, culminating in a series of social disasters and departures that leave the Bennet family's prospects in doubt. Chapters 1-4, The New Neighbors. Chapter 1. The novel opens with one of the most famous lines in English literature, which immediately establishes the theme of marriage as a central economic and social pursuit. Mr. and Mrs. Bennet are discussing the arrival of Mr. Bingley at Netherfield Park. Their dialogue brilliantly characterizes them. Mrs. Bennet is excitable and single-minded in her quest to marry off her daughters, while Mr. Bennet is ironic, detached, and amused by his wife's nerves. He teasingly refuses to visit Mr. Bingley, tormenting his wife, only to reveal he has already paid the necessary formal visit, leaving her delighted. Chapter 2. Mr. Bennet reveals his visit to his family. The daughters react differently. The serene Jane hopes he is a pleasant man. The witty Elizabeth notes her father's cunning. And the younger girls, Kitty and Lydia, are excited by the prospect of a wealthy, single man. Mrs. Bennet begins planning how to introduce Jane to him. Chapter 3. Mr. Bingley returns Mr. Bennet's visit, but the Bennet girls only catch a glimpse of him. The community eagerly awaits his appearance at the upcoming Meryton Assembly, a local ball. At the ball, Bingley is an immediate success. He is lively, handsome, and dances every dance. He shows a marked preference for Jane Bennet, dancing with her twice. His friend, Mr. Darcy, quickly draws the room's disapproval. He is declared to be the proudest, most disagreeable man in the world, because he dances only with Mrs. Hurst and Miss Bingley, and refuses to be introduced to any other lady. He is overheard by Elizabeth making a devastating comment about her. "She is tolerable, but not handsome enough to tempt me, and I am in no humor at present to give consequence to young ladies who are slighted by other men." Elizabeth, possessing a playful disposition, recounts the story with great spirit among her friends, but the slight firmly establishes her prejudice against him. Chapter 4. In a private conversation, Jane confides in Elizabeth that she finds Mr. Bingley agreeable and sensible. Elizabeth perceptively affirms his merits. The narrative then shifts to the Bingley party's perspective. While Bingley enthusiastically praises Jane Bennet's beauty and sweetness, his sisters are more condescending, though they agree to pursue the acquaintance. Darcy admits that Jane is pretty, but she smiled too much. More significantly, he states that he felt no desire to please the other women in the room, showing his social arrogance. This chapter solidifies the initial impressions. Bingley is amiable, Darcy is proud, and Jane is the object of Bingley's admiration. Chapter 5. The Bennets visit their neighbors, the Lucases. The conversation revolves around Darcy's pride. Sir William Lucas and his daughter Charlotte provide a sounding board for the Bennet girls. Charlotte Lucas, Elizabeth's close friend, offers a pragmatic perspective on Darcy, suggesting his wealth and status give him a right to be proud. This contrasts with Elizabeth's more idealistic view of human behavior. Chapter 6. The Bennet girls and the Netherfield party continue to interact. Miss Bingley and Mrs. Hurst's friendship with Jane grows, partly due to genuine liking, and partly due to their brother's admiration. Darcy, however, finds himself increasingly attracted to Elizabeth's fine eyes and the easy playfulness of her manner. He begins to seek her out for conversation. During one exchange, Charlotte Lucas advises Jane to show more affection towards Bingley to secure him, arguing that it is better to know little of a future spouse's defects beforehand. Elizabeth disagrees, believing one should know a partner's character thoroughly, a key philosophical difference between the friends. Chapter 7. The Bennet family's economic reality is laid bare. As the estate is entailed away to Mr. Collins, Mrs. Bennet's fortune is small, creating urgency for the girls to marry well. A letter arrives from Miss Bingley, inviting Jane to dine at Netherfield. Mrs. Bennet, scheming to have Jane stranded there, insists she go on horseback, despite the threat of rain. Her plan works too well. Jane gets caught in the downpour, catches a bad cold, and is forced to stay at Netherfield. Chapter 8. Elizabeth walks 3 miles to Netherfield to nurse her sister, arriving with muddy stockings, a flushed face, and a windswept appearance. The Bingley sisters are scandalized by this exhibition of impropriety and discuss it with contempt. Darcy, however, is silently admiring her brilliancy, heightened by the exercise. The evening is spent in the drawing room. Elizabeth's sharp wit is on display as she parries Miss Bingley's attempts to flirt with Darcy and criticize the Bennet family. We see Darcy's internal conflict. He is drawn to Elizabeth but remains conscious of her inferiority. Chapter 9. Elizabeth joins the party downstairs for the evening. Mrs. Bennet, along with Lydia and Kitty, arrives to check on Jane. Mrs. Bennet's vulgarity and lack of tact are on full display. She boasts about Jane's beauty, hints strongly at a match with Bingley, and makes a series of embarrassing comments. When she criticizes the practice of entailing estates away from female lines, she unknowingly offends Darcy, who is a beneficiary of such a practice. Her behavior confirms all of Darcy's worst fears about Elizabeth's family connections. Chapters 10-11. These chapters are a masterclass in drawing room tension. As Jane recovers, Elizabeth spends more time with the group. Miss Bingley relentlessly fawns over Darcy, flattering him and trying to engage him in conversation, which he largely deflects. In contrast, his exchanges with Elizabeth are spirited and intellectual. They debate the nature of vanity versus pride, with Elizabeth accusing him of the latter. In a significant moment, while Elizabeth is walking about the room, Miss Bingley spitefully invites Darcy to imagine how an advantageous marriage to Elizabeth would bring the spectacle of her aunt and uncle in Cheapside, a commercial part of London, to Pemberley. Darcy remains unmoved by her pettiness. His attraction to Elizabeth is palpable, culminating in him taking up a pen to write to his sister, while Elizabeth plays the piano, a scene where Miss Bingley's jealousy is thinly veiled. Chapter 12. Jane is well enough to return home. Elizabeth, sensing the Bingley sisters' growing coolness, is eager to leave. Their departure is delayed by Miss Bingley's insincere protests, but they finally set off for Longbourn, much to the disappointment of Bingley and the secret regret of Darcy. Chapter 12. Jane is well enough to return home. Elizabeth, sensing the Bingley sisters' growing coolness, is eager to leave. Their departure is delayed by Miss Bingley's insincere protests, but they finally set off for Longbourn, much to the disappointment of Bingley and the secret regret of Darcy. Chapters 13-18. Mr. Collins and the Netherfield Ball. Chapter 13. A letter arrives from Mr. William Collins, the Bennet cousins, who will inherit Longbourn. The letter is a masterpiece of pompous, sycophantic prose, full of long-winded apologies, flattery towards his patroness Lady Catherine de Bourgh, and a stated intention to heal the breach by marrying one of the Bennet daughters. His arrival is anticipated with a mixture of dread and curiosity. Chapter 14-15. Mr. Collins arrives and lives up to his description, a tall, heavy-looking young man of 25, with formal manners and a cervical devotion to Lady Catherine. He delivers endless, tedious compliments about the house and the daughters. The Bennet family reacts with varying degrees of amusement. Mr. Bennet, satisfaction Mrs. Bennet, and embarrassment Elizabeth and Jane. He accompanies the younger girls to Meryton, where they are introduced to the militia officer, Mr. George Wickham. At the same moment, they encounter Mr. Darcy. A striking moment occurs. Darcy and Wickham see each other, and both react with visible shock and coldness, exchanging the briefest of nods. This interaction immediately sparks Elizabeth's curiosity. Chapter 16. At the Phillips home in Meryton, Wickham is the center of attention. He singles out Elizabeth, and they have a long conversation. With great charm and apparent candor, he reveals his personal history with Darcy. He claims that the late Mr. Darcy, Wickham's own godfather, had intended to provide him with a valuable church living, a living as a clergyman, but that the present Mr. Darcy, out of pride, had denied it to him, leaving him penniless and forcing him to join the militia. This story perfectly confirms Elizabeth's already poor opinion of Darcy, solidifying her prejudice against him. Wickham also mentions Lady Catherine de Bourgh is Darcy's aunt. Chapter 17. The Bennets prepare for the Netherfield ball. Jane is nervous about seeing Bingley again. Elizabeth is determined to uncover more about the Darcy-Wickham history and is resolved not to dance with Darcy. Mr. Collins, in a comical moment, formally announces his intention to ask Elizabeth for the first 2 dances. cementing his courtship of her. Chapter 18, The Netherfield Ball. This is the dramatic climax of Volume 1. Elizabeth and Collins. Elizabeth is forced to endure 2 dances with the clumsy and conversationally inept Mr. Collins. Elizabeth and Darcy. To her surprise, Darcy asks her to dance. Their conversation is a tense, intellectual duel. Elizabeth brings up Wickham, and Darcy's reaction is stern and guarded. He states that he is in no humor to give consequence to the remarks of a stranger, a clear echo of his earlier slight, which Elizabeth notes. Jane and Bingley. Their mutual affection is obvious to all. They dance together and look perfectly happy. The Bennet family's disgrace. Mrs. Bennet. She is heard loudly and vulgarly discussing Jane's impending marriage to Bingley as a settled fact, within earshot of Darcy. Mary Bennet. She gives a long, mediocre performance on the piano, forcing Mr. Bennet to publicly intervene and stop her. Lydia and Kitty. They behave with wild impropriety, flirting incessantly with the officers. Elizabeth is acutely mortified, feeling that her family's behavior has ruined Jane's chances and confirmed Darcy in his contempt for them all. Chapter 19. The morning after the ball, Mr. Collins, in a brilliantly comic and unromantic scene, proposes to Elizabeth. His speech is a checklist of reasons, his patroness's advice, his wish to make amends for the entail, and his own inclination. He has no doubt of a favorable answer. Elizabeth firmly and repeatedly refuses him. He absurdly assumes she is following the usual practice of elegant females. Mrs. Bennet is furious, but Mr. Bennet supports Elizabeth, declaring, "Your mother will never see you again if you do not marry Mr. Collins, and I will never see you again if you do." Chapter 20. Mrs. Bennet tries to force Mr. Collins to renew his proposal, but he has given up. He swiftly transfers his attentions to Charlotte Lucas. Chapter 21. The militia is preparing to leave Meryton for the winter. Mr. Wickham, having paid attention to Elizabeth, now shifts his focus to a Miss King, who has recently inherited £10,000, revealing his own mercenary nature. More devastatingly, a letter arrives from Miss Bingley to Jane. It announces the entire Netherfield party has left for London with no plan to return. It also heavily implies that Bingley is falling in love with Miss Darcy and that a marriage is expected. Jane is heartbroken and believes Bingley never truly cared for her. Elizabeth, however, is convinced the Bingley sisters and Darcy are conspiring to separate him from Jane. Chapter 22. Mr. Collins proposes to Charlotte Lucas, and she accepts. Sir William Lucas quickly arrives to secure the Bennets' approval. Knowing the situation is awkward, the Bennets are astonished, and Elizabeth is particularly shocked and disappointed in her friend's choice. Chapter 23. Elizabeth confronts Charlotte about her engagement. Charlotte explains her pragmatic philosophy. "I am not romantic. You know, I never was. I ask only a comfortable home." She sees marriage as a woman's only preservation from poverty. Mr. Collins departs, and the neighborhood is abuzz with the news. The volume ends on a somber note for the Bennets. Jane is despondent. The charming officers are gone, and the future looks bleak. Elizabeth has lost faith in her friend and feels the sting of Darcy's perceived interference. Her prejudice now fully cemented. This is the summary of Volume 1, sets the stage for the reversals, revelations, and personal growth that will define the rest of the novel. Please like and subscribe the channel, and stay tuned for Volume